You're watching Rich History, Priceless Future, the Tarpon of Boca Grande Pass. Making its historic return in 2012, on its 30th anniversary, the world's richest tarpon tournament was back with a renewed mission of conservation, education, and sportsmanship. The driving force behind this return and mission is Lew Hastings, Director of the Boca Grande Area Chamber of Commerce.
The tournament had to come back as a tool, as a learning tool, where people can learn about our area, learn about our resource, learn about tarpon and why they're so important to this area and really to everywhere in the world. Once you take out one very important estuary system in the tarpon life cycle, like Charlotte Harbor, Boca Grande, and in the surrounding area, you affect the entire ecosystem of tarpon. We need to get that message out there because, look, let's face it, if the tarpon fishery collapses here in Boca Grande, we'll all be sitting around here years from now saying what it used to be like when tarpon existed, and we don't want that to happen.
Could there be a cautionary tale here? There may be. When you consider there was another place across the Gulf of Mexico that once held the title as the world's Tarpon Capital. Port Aransas, Texas experienced a devastating fishery collapse in the 1960s, and it never recovered. What can we learn from this sad history so it doesn't repeat itself here?
Let's talk about other places that have had tarpon in their resource. And one in particular, Port Aransas, Texas, used to be tarpon capital of the world. People from all over the world went there to fish for tarpon. Now, for whatever reason, the tarpon fishery ultimately collapsed. It used to be that you couldn't put your line in the water without catching a tarpon. Now it's news if you do. This is a cautionary tale for us. So there's a number of things that can affect that, not just overfishing. There could be things that we are doing that impact their habitat while they're growing up. One of the things that Dr. Aaron Adams from the Bonefish and Tarpon Trust and Moat Senior Scientist mentions often is the state of Florida has lost 50% of its mangrove population. He talks about the East Coast, it's completely gone. So we're the West Coast of Florida. We actually have some of that habitat left, and we need it. We need to keep it that way, desperately.
In response to this more complex challenge, the community in and around Boca Grande and scientists have joined together in a forward-thinking conservation strategy designed to protect this priceless fishery for future generations. The Moat Boca Grande Partnership is a community-wide grassroots effort to increase the knowledge of and support for the region's important marine environment and its long-term conservation.
Southwest Florida in general is a less developed area than many coastlines in the United States. And yet we have vibrant communities here. And it is a major attraction area for people from around the world to come and visit. But because the sort of lower level of development relative to the rest of the coastlines, especially in the eastern United States and the Gulf, that does allow it to have some somewhat unique characteristics. As you mentioned, Charlotte Harbor is one of the less impacted estuaries. It's tough to find anything in the world today that I would call technically pristine, but it is absolutely one of the least impacted large estuaries in the country. And it is a vital nursery ground for so many fisheries in the Gulf, in the Atlantic, in the Caribbean. It's connected, as is the entire marine seascape, if you will. We're all connected, and the marine environment is it's not a barrier but it's really a bridge that connects all of the different communities around the world. And of course, Charlotte Harbor and the Boca Grande area in particular is renowned for its fishing, and people come there for that. And the challenge for Southwest Florida and Charlotte Harbor region, of course, is to maintain that very essence of what it is that people come to see and enjoy without destroying that. So sustainable use is a key focus of the research that Moat does down there, hand in glove with conservation. And it's a very, very unique environment with its habitat, its attraction for fishing and tourism, and the aesthetic and cultural values as well.
Despite the long history and knowledge of tarpon in the Boca Grande area, critical knowledge gaps still remain about the tarpon's life cycle and the important role the health of this unique fishery plays in it.
Humans have as a species, a little bit of difficulty in learning from history sometimes. And what you've just described is a classic situation where we must learn. That is at the essence of what Moat's mission is about, is working with the community to help ensure the long-term sustainable use of the shared marine resources.
Coming up,
we're finding out that there were habitats that were destroyed when we didn't even know they were there.
Clearly, Boca Grande Pass is a major place for tarpon to come to feed in great numbers, in the thousands, inside this very narrow body of water.
It's too big to lose. It's in our hands. We need to keep it as it is, if not better than we found it. Water, water, everywhere, but we know we gotta move fast or it might disappear. The ocean lives, barely breathing as it is. We gotta save it for the kids. Beneath the surface, it's hard to believe all the life most eyes will never see, never see.